Hello, hello, everyone. I am Wilka Nascimento, and this is the Leadership Talks podcast. And today I have a very special guest, Jill Porter. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Wilka. Appreciate you having me.
Of course, it's a pleasure to have you. So, how is everything by BWI area?
It's definitely coming back. We're building out of that darn pandemic.
Yeah, yeah. So, Jill, introduce yourself for the listeners that haven't heard from you in a little bit or don't know you. What do you do, and how? And I will tell later how we became, colleagues in this industry.
Sure, sure. So I'm currently director of sales at the Maritime Conference Center, which, as you said, is right near Baltimore Washington International Airport. We sit on the campus of MITAGS, which is the Maritime Institute of Technology and Graduate Studies. We train mariners from deckhands up to pilots of ships on simulation-based technology. So it's a pretty amazing place. And I oversee the hotel and the conference center. We have 100,000 square feet of meeting space and a 232 room hotel on property. The revenue that we're generating is actually supporting that school, which is a nonprofit organization. So it's a really amazing place, a wonderful culture. I'm very thankful to be part of that organization. I also work as secretary for the board of Visit Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. And for many, many years have been working with BWI Arundel Mills Hospitality Alliance and get to sit on a bunch of other committees for wonderful organizations like the BWI Business Partnership and Northern Anne Arundel Chamber. So definitely lots of things happening, which keeps me busy and is exciting.
Yeah, and I think actually that's how we met, right? We were in a Visit Annapolis meeting. Was a Zoom meeting, was a virtual meeting, and then we connected, and we've been, really active, supporting each other in our, social platforms like LinkedIn. But I wanted to bring you here today because I think, the work you do supporting these organizations, right, that surround your location where you work at, it's amazing because I see that the collaboration between organizations, right? Me and you, we never even met in person yet, right?
Right. Yeah.
And we've been connected like through, I think it's going to be more than a year now.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's amazing like how we can support each other. And, you are in the hospitality industry for a while. How did you start in the business, and what would be like your suggestions for folks that are interested in joining, the hospitality industry?
Sure. So I kind of fell into the industry like a lot of hospitality folks do. I was actually a cashier at a department store working my way through college. I was intending to study early childhood development, and that department store closed. And the human resources person started working at a local hotel and had a couple of positions available. Reached out and I was like, okay, I don't know anything about this industry, but sure, I'll interview for a front desk position. And the rest is history, so to speak. It was a wonderful property in Columbia, Maryland, and I really got to experience all of what hospitality is about. Got to kind of learn a little bit about banquets and a little bit about the restaurant and all of the things, and was like, wow, I actually really enjoy this industry. And I just loved that you could meet people from all over the world standing at a front desk, getting to meet and greet and serve people, um, and realized a passion. Continued to grow and climb through the ranks, so to speak, within the hotel and hospitality world. I've done everything from night audit up to acting general manager. But sales is definitely where I found my passion and what I really enjoy. And the collaboration that you were talking about is definitely a big piece of that.
Yeah, and it's all about one thing that I also share with people. It's the collaboration, the networking, the people you're gonna meet today, like we met in a board where I was also part of in Annapolis. Now I'm working virtually from home and we are still connected, we're still supporting each other. And one of the greatest things too that I've seen, your personal branding, your on LinkedIn has awesomely increased, and forgive me if I'm mistaken, but I'm like so proud to see, you go to a networking event, and then you post a photo and you comment, and that's what I think, some of the folks in marketing, right, in storytelling are forgetting to do and share um your support to the community, to the local community, but also, to share your wins, right? Because being on a board, it's not easy, right? You have to make sure you are an active listener, but also, you got to take action to help your community to attract more business into your area. So, what would you be like, what would you suggest, for folks this day that are in the same similar role, like, I was, like you are, as a director of sales in a hotel?
Well, I think I think a lot about women in hospitality, right? Because we're both women in the field. Um, and I think about the fact that we work really, really hard, but we have to learn how to set boundaries. Um, and that other people will actually take you more seriously and respect you when you're able to have those healthy boundaries. Um, I didn't start really understanding or grasping that until I got into my 40s, and I'm not even that far into my 40s yet, so I'm still learning. But I definitely think that that's really important. I'd also say, don't be afraid to take on a new challenge or a new project. I think, especially when we think about men within our industry and really in general, a lot of times when women don't feel 100% equipped and ready, they're less likely to take it on. And I have just found that when men are presented with an opportunity to take on a new assignment or a new obstacle, and they're not fully prepared, they're okay with that. They're willing to jump in and take the risk. So, I don't know if part of that is a fear thing for women, but we feel like we have to have, every I dotted and every T crossed before we can jump in and land on our feet. So that's something that I would definitely say is, have the faith in yourself to jump in and take on the project, and collaborate with other people and learn as you go, knowing you're going to make some mistakes. It's going to be a process, but as you learn and as you grow and you gain more resources, you're going to become more and more excited about that opportunity, courageous. But you actually have to step into it and try.
Yeah, for sure.
Lean in, kind of put that, maybe you feel the fear and that's okay, but feel the fear and do it anyway, you know? Um, you and I talked a lot about collaboration already, and I think that's a really big key part for me, especially just always looking for a way to serve people, always looking for a way to assist or connect people. I would much rather have a conversation with somebody and know that it's not necessarily the right fit for me, or maybe what I have to offer isn't going to meet that need, but I have somebody that could, or there's an organization that would be a really great resource. So I'm all about that, collaboration and connecting people. Um, and surround yourself, with capable, competent, confident, caring women, who are going to celebrate with you, care for you, encourage you. Um, and then, of course, do the same thing for the women in your own realm, right? We all have other women that we're influencing. Do that same thing for them. And I think I said this earlier, but definitely being a servant leader, making pathways to bring others into the room or bring others to the table. caring for your staff, your team members, your customers, whomever it might be, but really from a genuine heart, um, lead people with, servanthood.
And I love what you said, because you're gonna be an example, right? And I think also totally, totally agree, like you have to be an example as well to folks that are starting, like your colleagues at the front desk. Like I've worked, from you name it, from housekeeping to and I'm not talking about just the pandemic, right? I'm talking about like how I started my career here. But
Mhm.
when I talked to some people and they were like, "What? You did that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, and I have no problem letting you know that I know how to do this job because I don't have to be promoting every single step of the way or what are my side gigs that I did or not do." I remember I had a customer one time. I was like, I was actually working throughout the pandemic, was making preparing the breakfast, right? The breakfast to go bags. And they were like, "But I thought you were the manager here." And I was like, "My dear, we do it all. We get into the program, we do it all. Believe me, you don't
Yeah.
even know what I do in the back of the house. I'm doing laundry, I'm folding towels, it's not
Mhm.
perfect, but I'm trying my best over here." So
Yeah, and I think that we're better salespeople because we've done some of those operational things, right? Because we're not selling the nightmare and selling the dream and then making them service the nightmare, I guess
for
is
sure.
the whole saying, right? Like you're not going to do that because you remember what it's like to stand in their shoes and do that specific task. And you want to set your team up to be able to create wow moments for your customers. If you're not setting them up for success, then you're not doing it correctly. It's supposed to be a team, and especially if you've been in those roles, you know what those people need to be equipped and to be able to really fully serve those customers.
Absolutely. And another point also, it's like you have to, I was talking to a colleague the other day and I was like, you have to cheer yourself up, but you have to cheer your team up, right? And I saw somebody posted, "Oh, it's Valentine's Day, we have cupcakes and this and that." I'm like, it's great, right? But like how really caring that gesture is, and I think on the day-to-day basis, you can show that to your colleagues. I have worked with different people from different backgrounds, different cultures, and the hospitality bring us all together, right? Like I worked in a hotel in New York City, for example. My entire housekeeping team was Chinese. And my office, fun fact, was like sitting at the storage room at that property. I shared my office with the housekeeping manager and she was Chinese. So every time, I walked into the office, aka storage room, right? I would be like, "Hey, good morning," and I like she's teaching me, how to speak some of the words in her language, and people they see that you care, they see that you're interested, and you are, part of their day to day lives, right? Because also I think leadership it's about not just being like, "Hey, here's a trophy for you. Thank you so much for all of the revenue brought into, this hotel in 2019," right? Because
Right.
we don't see much of those in 2020 or 2021 running around, right? In the sales world. But other than, having to show them like really what it is, you be there with them. Like I can name it, so many hoteliers that I've worked with that were, inspirational. And, I think leadership, it's about that. It's like how you inspire people to be better and do better, but not just, one day out of the year, but it's yes, on that daily basis. And, what are your thoughts for, leadership in hospitality in 2022? What would be the message, for your team, for people that are listening right now?
Well, I think you hit some of that on the head. We work so many hours within our businesses. It's got to be fun. right? It's gotta be that you're engaging with people and enjoying the time that you have with those people. At the end of the day, it comes down to people, right? Like we serve people, we work alongside people. That's what this job is about. So really, like you were saying, embracing those relationships, and taking the care to listen and I know we're all so busy, and especially right now, rebuilding out of the pandemic, we're all wearing way too many hats, and feeling a little stretched. But putting the pause button on those things for a minute and having a real dialogue and conversation with people goes a really long way. I think if I was kind of going to talk to somebody who was considering, getting into the hospitality world, um, I would first of all say, consider the different educational resources that are out there. There are so many opportunities now, whether it be certification or going to college route, to be able to learn hospitality. But whether you decide to take up those, educational moments or not, jump in, have a positive mindset and a positive attitude, and a high work ethic. That goes a long, long way. If you're willing to take things on and run with them, and work really hard, it'll take you far. Um, there are, a lot of free resources. There's certified meeting professionals and things like that that you can go after. Um, I'd also just encourage that it's a fun thing. Like you're going to get to be exposed to people from all over the world, different points of views, different experiences. Maybe you'll get a chance to travel yourself, but no matter what, you're getting a chance to serve others. And I think that's a really exciting opportunity, to be in hospitality and get to serve other people. It's rewarding, it's very diverse. You get to learn all kinds of skill sets. During COVID, it was even, COVID testing. Who thought we would be COVID testing administrators? But it's on the resume now. But it's also diverse in the aspect of you can work in so many different areas of hospitality and tourism, right? It's not just hotels and conference centers and things of that nature. You got restaurants and attractions. There's a lot of other opportunity, that I think of when I think of hospitality and tourism. Um, we talked a lot about serving people with intention, and I think that's really important, whether it be your boss, your colleagues, your clients. Um, that's going to go a really long way. And anybody who's in your sphere of influence, telling that story, using those platforms to be able to share who you really are at your core. We talked about networking. You were saying, Jill, you post things all the time after you network. Yeah, networking is a huge thing. You've got to be engaged with the community. And that's how you create that network of collaboration. Because then you start to know, oh, this person handles this particular thing, and this person's an expert or a subject matter, expert in this field. So I can connect these people to one another. So that's definitely very important to me. Volunteer, that's a really great way to kind of get your foot in, learn a lot. Volunteer with different organizations. As you know, I'm on a couple of boards and things like that, but it can be as simple as there's a big event coming into town and they need a couple of people to direct traffic at the airport. Those are great engaging ways to just get involved, with tourism and hospitality.
Yeah, and a fun fact too, like I've, love that part. I was even on my own time, right? I was volunteering to teach English as a second language. And I'm like, I'm not the perfect teacher, right? But hey, the little
Yeah.
bit that I know, I want to share with people. So I think, there is opportunities for sure. Like I remember when I worked in California, the organization that I worked with, we had AIDS walk, to support, and we would raise money. And it was a beautiful Sunday morning. We walked in 5 miles in the park together, right? So it's definitely what you said. It's about the community. It's help, another sector. And you can network and grow those relationships and foster it. I can guarantee you, the same people that I walked on that walk in San Francisco, I talk to them. I have their cell phone number. They have my cell phone number. They ask me questions. We are still in touch. And that's been like probably 6 years now, So in New York, we went to volunteer for elderly home and we painted. So I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, hey, I love painting. After a couple hours, I was like, I can't paint anymore. What else can I do?
Yeah, we also get a lot of opportunities to touch children, youth, on both sides of my world, the hospitality world and the academic maritime world, where we have youth come in and just get exposed to these different job opportunities. Because if they don't know that hospitality is a potential career opportunity, or that becoming a mariner is so much fun, and exposing them to these different opportunities and career possibilities is really fun. So we've gotten an opportunity to do that quite a bit through some summer youth programs. We actually have an engineering program that's coming in a couple of weeks. That's all students coming through to learn about the maritime industry. So yeah, it's really fun to volunteer. And I love it, that you were painting and kind of got tired of the painting, but it's really fun to get outside of what you normally do, right? Your routine, and do something else, a little engaging and kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also, I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but I worked by the BWI area years ago. And one thing that I love about this area, Maryland, and I live about 20 minutes from the airport, and I tell people all the time, I was like, oh my God, this airport's in and out. I flew from you know BWI to Brazil, and it's like one stop shop, and it's easy, it's
Yeah.
smooth, and I love it. I can park my car, I can come back my car. It's like everything is so quick and so easy to do, and I definitely appreciate, all of the folks in the industry that, makes that transition for us, right? Like, because in the end of the day, too, we are not just the servants, but we also are customers, right? Because you travel, you go on vacation with your family, like you want to be able to recommend and use, right, the facilities that that it works well in your area. So
Yeah.
this is for me like a huge one. I talk to hoteliers, right, basically on a daily basis. And I somebody asked me the other day, I was like, oh my God, I see you on LinkedIn and you're doing podcasts, and what are you making? What is the money? I was like, this is my project. And I think it's something to influence others, but also to highlight, right, like what other people in the industry are doing to help the community and to inspire as well. So, I think the connection that I've had, with you on that meeting, and then the conversations afterwards. I know we were supposed to meet for coffee, it never happened yet.
Well,
But
it goes back to that whole personal branding piece that you were really talking about. And, yes, it's a lot to manage. Sometimes it does feel a little daunting, especially when you have a million other tasks on the to-do list. And I'm also a mom of two. So, you've got that and the husband and everybody else that needs to be taken care of. But I think at the end of the day, authenticity is key. So my advice to other people who are thinking about, personal branding and how do you do this, is just be yourself. If you're struggling with who you are, then do some inner homework, do some healing, gain some clarity. And I'm so sincere about that. I think that you and I have talked a little bit offline before about some of our health journeys and things like that. Counseling isn't a dirty word. Gain a little insight, read some books, get some advice from somebody that you trust, and find meaning in your life, because it will really give you clarity. And then you can be yourself, even on social media. So I think finding out what's really important to you and what's your specific message and how do you want to portray yourself in the world, is really, really important. And once you have that definition and kind of that foundation in place, it's easy to share with others, right? Um,
Absolutely, for sure. And I think you nailed down, like I did see, it's like sometimes people are like, "Oh, wow, this is very authentic," right? And I'm like, "Well, I'm not going for that. I'm just being myself," right? And I think that as human beings, we have, "Oh, do I look good?" Or, "Oh, my hair needs to fix this." And then honestly, and I actually, every time I go to Brazil, I feel that pressure, but I'm like, well, honestly, I don't let it get into my skin, because I know who I am, I know where I come from, I know what I got, right? And I
yep,
think the experience, and it's exactly what you said earlier too. It's how you um, protect your own energy, but also you set up boundaries, right? For
mhm,
people,
yep,
like, oh, you can say whatever you want to say, and it's not going to affect me, because I know who I am and where I come from. So having this comfort with yourself and confidence, will definitely help you on your personal branding piece, but also not just on your career, or where the company you work for, or where you located. That can be anywhere, right? Because you don't change your personality because you go to another job, or you go to another country, or whatever you go, you are who you are.
yeah,
So I really think people need to get that, like you said, do some inner work. But also, I think one thing, and this, can turn into another conversation for sure, but I think in the hospitality business, right, it's like the connection. People will feel good when they come to you for a site tour. I've seen you doing some site tours, and you've shared pictures, and you're energetic. You want to be out there, you want to get, and you want to close those businesses. I see you're hiring people. So who doesn't want to be with somebody, with an organization that is positive, and is featuring, and it's highlighting, the colleagues that work with you, that surround you and make who you are. So I think, Jill, you do a great job at that, and I
thank you.
thank you so much for having taking this time, giving this time of the day. And I know it's a little late for you.
No, but thank you for considering me a trusted advisor. I think at the end of the day, that's what we all need and want from one another in business and in life. So thank you for your time, Wilka, and you've been such a positive influence on me, even though we haven't met in real life. But we definitely will be changing
For
that.
sure, for sure. 2022 is here, and we need to take some action, right?
Definitely.
So, Jill, like, one last thing, how can people get in touch with you, and how you would like to be connected with folks that are listening to the podcast right now?
Sure. So if you're interested in learning more about Maritime Conference Center, you can go to www.mccbwi.org. I am definitely on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook and all the places. But you can always email me directly at jporter@mccbwi.org as well.
Thank you so much, Jill, and you have a wonderful evening. And I'll talk to you soon, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Sounds good, Wilco. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.